Every household needs a constant supply of hot water, often in large quantities, for baths, for washing and shaving, for doing the laundry, and perhaps more than anywhere else, at the kitchen sink. Even nowadays, there are still homes where a gas ring is the only method of heating water. What is needed in homes today is a continuous supply of hot water, always available at the turn of a tap. And this is what gas water heaters are specially designed to provide. There are two main types of gas-operated water heaters: instantaneous heaters and storage heaters. Each of these types is further subdivided. Instantaneous heaters are of two types, the single point and the multi-point. Storage heaters are also of two types, the self-contained heater and the gas circulator with a separate tank. Most of these types of gas-operated water heaters work on this simple principle. That is, cold water is made to flow through a pipe which is heated by gas burners beneath it. As it passes through the pipe, the water becomes hot and flows on to the hot tap. Let us deal with the instantaneous type of water heater first and see an application of this simple principle. This is a single point heater, so called because it supplies hot water at one point only. The flow of water is controlled by the tap. When it is turned on, the water flows and the gas is caused to light up automatically, as we can see if we remove the cover. In order to understand how this works in practice, it is necessary to know something about water pressure. Here is a tap with water coming out of it. If a restriction is put on the flow of the water pressure behind the restriction builds up. In this case, the pressure is so high that the water comes out in a sharp stream. Here is a diagram showing a water pipe. When water flows along the pipe, the pressure at the 2 points A and B is almost the same. Now, let us put a restriction on the pipe between the 2 points. Point B now registers less pressure than before. Point A registers much more. The pressure is building up behind the restriction in the pipe. This is the principle used in the instantaneous water heater to turn on the gas when the water flows. Fitted above the restriction is a compartment connected to the pipe by two tubes. It is filled with water. The compartment contains a flexible diaphragm. When the tap is turned on and the water flows, the pressure difference caused by the restriction moves the diaphragm. When the tap is turned off, the diaphragm returns to the center of the compartment. Attached to the diaphragm is a rod, at the end of which is a valve. The valve is seated in the gas stream. When the water pressure causes the diaphragm to move, the valve opens and allows the gas to flow. When the water is turned off, the valve closes immediately and cuts off the gas. The valve is placed at the point where the gas pipe passes up into the gas burners. At the side of the burner is the pilot flame, which is always kept alight. When the water opens the valve, the gas passes up into the burners and is ignited by the pilot flame. When the water is turned off, the diaphragm moves back to the central position. A spring attached to the valve ensures that it closes completely. The cold water pipe bends round and over the burners. Are a number of fins. These fins increase the surface area of the pipe and enable it to absorb heat more quickly. When the water enters this heated section of pipe, it becomes hot. It then flows out of the hot tap. Now let us look again at each stage of the process of heating the water in our instantaneous heater. First, the tap is turned on. Cold water flows in from the main supply. It goes along the pipe until it reaches the restriction. Here, the water pressure is built up. Some of the water is forced up the little pipe into the compartment containing the flexible diaphragm. The water pressure pushes the diaphragm over, and the diaphragm works the rod attached to it. At the end of the rod is the valve which opens, allowing gas to flow in from the feed pipe. The gas passes up through the valve into the burners. The pilot light ignites the burners. The water flows up the pipe to the finned section, which is placed above them. Here, the water is heated. Finally, it passes on to the hot water outlet. Multi-point water heaters are larger than single-point heaters, but they work in exactly the same way. They supply hot water not only to the nearest point, which is very often the kitchen sink, but also to other parts of the house. The act of turning on the hot tap of the wash basin, the bath, or the sink causes the heater downstairs to turn itself on, so that hot water flows to where it is wanted. With all types of instantaneous heaters, the water is heated only as and when a tap is turned on. All instantaneous heaters are fitted with a safety device, which prevents an escape of gas if the water is turned on before the pilot jet is lit. This is fitted to a valve which leads to the burners, and its working is based on the fact that different metals expand by different amounts when they are heated. It is called a bimetal strip, and it consists of two strips of metal which expand at different rates fastened together. It is built into the unit at the side of the pilot flame and protected by a small protective cover. Attached to it is a small valve fitted at the point where the gas passes to the burners. If the pilot flame is out, this valve remains closed and no gas can flow. Here it is on the heater. When the pilot flame is lit, its heat causes the outside strip of metal to expand more than the inner strip, and the movement opens the valve. The open valve allows the gas to pass up into the burners so that they light up whenever the water is turned on. Now we come to storage heaters. The first type of storage heater consists of a circulator in which the water is heated before being stored in a separate tank. The principle on which circulators work is similar to that of the instantaneous heater. Cold water flows through a pipe, which is heated by gas burners. But instead of flowing out of the tap, as in the instantaneous heater, in the circulator, the hot water is collected in a tank. We can see the similarity between the two types if we think of the circulator simply as an instantaneous heater connected to a tank. Here it is in more detail. The water is heated in a coil of pipe over gas burners. Hot water is lighter than cold, and when it is heated, the water passes up a pipe into the storage tank, where it remains at the top. Cold water is displaced from the bottom of the tank and flows down to the circulator. Here it is heated in turn, and the process continues until the tank is full of hot water. The gas supply to the burners is controlled by a thermostat. This cuts off the gas supply when the water reaches the desired temperature. The pilot remains alight, and if the water temperature begins to fall, the thermostat turns on the gas again and the circulation process continues. The outside of the storage tank is well lagged to prevent loss of heat. The second kind of storage heater is the self-contained type. In this system, the heater and the storage tank are combined. The burners and the heating unit are at the bottom of the tank. The cold water in the tank circulates through the heating unit and up the pipe in the center. The hot water collects at the top and gradually fills the tank. When the water at the bottom is sufficiently hot, it operates a thermostat which cuts down the gas supply. When needed, hot water is drawn off from the top of the tank by turning a tap somewhere in the house. Cold water flows in to replace it. This brings the thermostat into operation again, and the gas supply is turned up until the temperature is restored. A spreader prevents the incoming cold water from mixing with the hot water already in the tank. As with other types of storage heater, the tank is well lagged to retain the heat. Both storage heaters and circulators are fitted into the household water system in much the same way. The water main feeds cold water into the cistern. A pipe from the bottom feeds cold water into the bottom of the storage heater or the storage tank of the circulator. As the water is heated, it collects at the top of the tank. From here, it is fed to the hot taps in the house as it is wanted. A pipe from the tank provides an open vent to the cistern. Households which already have a coke boiler for winter use can readily take advantage of gas heaters. For in the summer, the boiler often makes the kitchen unpleasantly warm. A gas-operated water heater offers an alternative hot water supply. In these cases, it is often convenient to use a circulator, for it will use the same hot water tank as the solid fuel boiler. But another alternative is to use an instantaneous multi-point heater. With a multi-point, the hot water storage tank and the solid fuel boiler become unnecessary during the summer months. And the tank is cut out of the system by closing a special tap. Thus, when the various hot water taps in the house are turned on, hot water flows directly to them from the multi-point heater. In winter, when the solid fuel boiler takes over again, a tap on the water supply to the multi-point is closed to cut it out of the system. The tap on the storage tank is opened, and the hot water taps in the house are supplied from the water which is heated in the solid fuel boiler. There is a type of gas-operated water heater to suit every requirement. Here are a few examples of instantaneous heaters. This is a multi-point, which fits neatly into an outside wall. Here is a familiar type of multi-point, ideal for supplying the needs of a small family. Here is a small single-point heater for use at a sink or in a small washroom. And this one is made specially for supplying bath water. This heater, which makes full use of the flexibility of gas for heating, can be adjusted to give warm, hot, or boiling water simply by turning a lever. There's also a wide range of storage heaters. This is a large type to supply water to many parts of the house. This heater combines a storage tank and a circulator side by side, ideal for use in a small space. Here is a small storage heater specially made for supplying hot water at the kitchen sink. And here is another large type, suitable for a big family. Hot water is an essential factor in the home, not only for comfort and convenience, but also for health and hygiene. Gas water heaters will provide instant hot water at any time of the day or night. Their easy control makes them invaluable for an enormous variety of household uses. For they provide hot water simply at the turn of a tap.